Have you ever looked at a photograph and genuinely wondered whether it was taken on Earth at all? Travel has a way of surprising us, but some places go far beyond surprise. They challenge our sense of reality and make us question what we thought our planet looked like. Most people imagine Earth as a familiar collection of mountains, forests, beaches, and cities. Yet scattered across the globe are landscapes so unusual that they resemble scenes from science fiction rather than destinations you can actually visit. Many travelers spend years chasing famous landmarks, only to discover that the most unforgettable experiences often happen in places that seem impossible. Places where colors, shapes, and environments feel completely disconnected from everyday life. There is something fascinating about standing somewhere that looks unreal. The normal rules of geography appear to disappear, and suddenly the world feels far larger and stranger than we imagined. Today we're exploring 10 countries that feel like another planet. These are places where nature has created landscapes so extraordinary that even photographs often struggle to capture how surreal they truly are. Let's begin with one of the most famous otherworldly destinations on Earth. Bolivia is home to a landscape so unusual that visitors often describe it as stepping into a dream. Deep in the country's southwest lies Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. Stretching across thousands of square kilometers, it creates an endless white surface that seems to merge directly with the horizon. During the dry season, the salt flat resembles a frozen ocean made entirely of white crystal. The vast emptiness creates strange optical illusions that make distances almost impossible to judge. After rainfall, the landscape transforms into something even more remarkable. A thin layer of water turns the entire surface into the largest natural mirror on Earth. The sky reflects perfectly beneath your feet. Clouds appear above and below at the same time, creating the sensation of walking through the atmosphere rather than across land. In some areas, the horizon disappears completely. Travelers often describe feeling suspended between two worlds with no clear sense of where Earth ends and the sky begins. Few places create such a powerful illusion of another planet. Yet Bolivia is only the beginning. If any country seems designed by volcanic forces from another world, it is Iceland. Located near the Arctic Circle, Iceland combines glaciers, lava fields, black deserts, geothermal activity, and powerful waterfalls into a landscape unlike almost anywhere else. Large parts of the country appear completely untouched by human development. Long stretches of volcanic terrain look more like scenes from Mars than northern Europe. The black sand beaches of the south coast create a dramatic contrast against crashing Atlantic waves. Towering basalt formations rise from the shoreline like giant stone monuments. Further inland, ancient lava fields stretch toward distant mountains. Moss-covered rocks create strange textures that resemble alien terrain. Steam rises from geothermal vents scattered across the landscape. In some areas, the ground itself appears alive with heat and movement. The combination of fire, ice, and isolation gives Iceland a unique atmosphere. It feels like a place where Earth is still being formed. From Iceland's volcanic landscapes, we travel to one of Africa's most visually striking countries. Namibia is a land of vast emptiness and extraordinary natural beauty. The country's famous Namib Desert is believed to be one of the oldest deserts on Earth. Its giant red sand dunes create scenes that seem almost too dramatic to be real. Some dunes rise hundreds of meters above the desert floor. Their sharp ridges and deep shadows constantly change as sunlight moves across the landscape. In places like Dedevlé, Ancient dead trees stand frozen against white clay plains surrounded by towering orange dunes. The contrast of colors feels almost artificial. The extreme dryness preserves these landscapes in remarkable detail. Some scenes appear unchanged for centuries. Travelers often find themselves completely alone in enormous open spaces. The silence can be as unforgettable as the scenery itself. Few places create a stronger feeling of visiting another world than Namibia's endless desert horizons. Not all alien landscapes are deserts. Some are shaped by endless grasslands and vast open skies. Mongolia offers one of the most remote and untouched environments on the planet. The country's enormous size and relatively small population create a sense of isolation rarely experienced elsewhere. Across the Mongolian steppe, rolling grasslands stretch far beyond the horizon. There are regions where roads disappear entirely and navigation relies on natural landmarks. The landscape feels ancient and timeless. It is easy to imagine that very little has changed here for hundreds of years. In the Gobi Desert, rocky formations and barren plains create scenes that resemble distant planets more than modern Earth. The scale of Mongolia is difficult to describe. Travelers often spend hours without seeing another vehicle or settlement. At night, the stars dominate the sky. With minimal light pollution, the universe feels astonishingly close. This combination of isolation and immense space gives Mongolia a uniquely otherworldly character. Further west in South America lies another destination that challenges our understanding of what a landscape can be. Northern Chile is home to the Atacama Desert, widely recognized as one of the driest places on Earth. Some regions receive almost no rainfall at all. The result is a landscape that appears remarkably similar to environments found on Mars. Salt formations, rocky valleys, and vast desert plains dominate the scenery. Colors shift between red, orange, brown, and gold, depending on the time of day. The Valley of the Moon is one of the region's most famous attractions. Its unusual rock formations create a landscape that seems almost extraterrestrial. Scientists have even used parts of the Atacama to test equipment designed for future Mars missions. The dry air and high elevation create exceptionally clear skies. Stargazing here is considered among the best in the world. Standing beneath the Milky Way in the Atacama often feels like standing on another planet while looking out into space. From one of Earth's driest places, we move to a country famous for dramatic natural beauty. New Zealand often appears in films because many of its landscapes seem almost impossible. Towering mountains rise above turquoise lakes. Dense forests cover remote valleys, while glaciers descend from rugged peaks. The country's South Island contains some of the most visually diverse scenery found anywhere on Earth. In certain regions, travelers can experience snow-covered mountains, rainforests, and dramatic coastlines within a single day. The volcanic landscapes of the North Island add another layer of diversity. Geothermal areas bubble, steam, and shift beneath the surface. Bright mineral pools create colors rarely seen in nature. Some resemble scenes from a fantasy world rather than a modern nation. New Zealand's combination of dramatic geography and relative isolation creates a landscape that feels both familiar and strangely unreal. If biodiversity alone could make a country feel alien, Madagascar would easily qualify. Separated from mainland Africa for millions of years, Madagascar evolved in remarkable isolation. As a result, much of its wildlife exists nowhere else on Earth. Travelers often encounter plants and animals that seem completely disconnected from the rest of the natural world. The famous Avenue of the Baobabs creates one of the planet's most unusual landscapes. Massive trees rise from the ground like ancient monuments. Many of Madagascar's forests contain species found nowhere else. The environment feels like a separate evolutionary experiment. Rock formations, limestone pinnacles, and unusual ecosystems add to the country's distinct character. Exploring Madagascar often feels less like visiting another country and more like discovering an entirely different version of Earth. Next, we travel to one of Africa's most geologically fascinating destinations. Ethiopia contains landscapes so unusual that scientists frequently compare them to environments beyond our planet. The Danakil Depression is one of the hottest inhabited places on Earth. It is also one of the most visually extraordinary. Bright yellow mineral deposits cover parts of the landscape. Acid pools, salt formations, and geothermal activity create scenes unlike anything most travelers have ever seen. Colors appear almost unnatural. Green, orange, yellow, and white combine to form landscapes that resemble digital artwork. Volcanic activity continues to shape the region today. The ground itself seems alive with constant geological change. Many visitors describe the experience as walking across a distant world where nature operates under different rules. Few destinations better capture the idea of an alien planet hidden within our own. Central Asia also contains landscapes that surprise many travelers. Kazakhstan is often overlooked despite possessing some of the most dramatic natural scenery in the region. The country's enormous territory includes deserts, canyons, mountains, lakes, and endless grasslands. One of its most remarkable attractions is Charon Canyon. Carved by erosion over millions of years, it creates spectacular rock formations and towering cliffs. The landscape resembles giant stone sculptures stretching into the distance. Elsewhere, vast steppes create a feeling of endless openness, similar to Mongolia but on an equally impressive scale. The sheer size of Kazakhstan often surprises visitors. Some regions feel completely untouched and incredibly remote. Its combination of geological diversity and low population density creates an atmosphere that feels far removed from the modern world. Finally, we arrive at a country so large and diverse that it contains multiple landscapes that seem impossible. Australia is often associated with beaches and cities, but some of its most extraordinary environments lie far from the coast. The Australian outback contains immense deserts, unusual rock formations, and vast empty spaces. In many regions, the red earth dominates the landscape. Combined with sparse vegetation and intense sunlight, the scenery often resembles images returned from Mars. Locations like Uluru create a powerful sense of scale and isolation. Rising dramatically from the surrounding landscape, it appears almost unreal. Further north, unusual geological formations and remote wilderness areas reveal a side of Australia many travelers never see. The country's unique wildlife adds another layer of strangeness. Animals found nowhere else on Earth reinforce the feeling that Australia evolved separately from the rest of the world. It is a destination where familiar assumptions about nature often disappear. What makes these countries so fascinating is not simply their beauty. It is the way they challenge our expectations of what Earth should look like. They remind us that our planet is far stranger, more diverse, and more extraordinary than we often realize. From Bolivia's endless mirror to Ethiopia's colorful geothermal fields, each destination offers a glimpse into landscapes that seem to belong somewhere beyond Earth. And perhaps that is one of travel's greatest rewards. The realization that you do not need to leave this planet to feel like you've entered another world. Because sometimes the most alien place imaginable is right here on Earth, waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this journey through Earth's most unreal destinations, be sure to subscribe to the Travel Perspective for more fascinating places, surprising destinations, and incredible stories from around the world.